My thing is, when you're chasing something, when you have a goal, when you're alone, this is what differentiates when you're isolated and when you're lonely. You could be alone when you're doing nothing about it, when you're doing nothing towards your goal, or when you're doing nothing towards helping you to reach that goal you have in mind, or helping you to get through a moment to then get out of a specific situation, and you're alone. That's when you're lonely.
Okay.
When you're doing nothing about it.
Right.
You know? And sometimes it's okay to feel like I don't want to do anything about it. Okay, then it's okay to feel lonely too.
Right.
But eventually you will have to do something about it to get out of it. Or eventually you will have to do something about it to reach your goal, to reach your purpose, to reach your achievements.
Yeah.
So then that's isolation. Because then when you're isolated, you put yourself in that uncomfortable position, knowing that high stress prepares you for the big moments, not high stress stops you from the big moments. So then you know that when you're isolated, you're elevated. Elevated thoughts, elevated ideas, elevated performance, elevated everything. And I think maybe you could relate, I think maybe a lot of people here could relate. I personally get my best ideas when I'm alone.
Yeah.
I get my best ideas when I'm alone. I work best when I'm alone, and I focus best when I'm alone. So not because you're alone, you're lonely.
Yeah.
And you know,
Absolutely.
and it's amazing to be alone and be isolated. And that's what training camp is. That's where the mental toll takes place, because that's where I have to balance the pressure.
Okay.
The stress I'm building through a big fight on a very big event, 20, 30,000 people watching. This is only my fifth or my sixth fight, but they're putting me on such huge events that only people in their 40th and 50th fight are on, which is again a huge privilege. With as much pressure comes just as much privilege.
Yeah.
But strangely so, this is what really breaks you down. This is what really eats a little part of you every single time. Then you get to the fight. You get to fight week, you stop training, you're tapering down. You have to manage the pressure, the stress, the crowd, the press, the media. You're seeing your opponent every day, you're facing off with your opponent every day. So then when it's all said and done, you don't have to weigh in, you don't have to check your weight, you don't have to train 2 and 3 times a day, every day, balance the pressure of a whole country or a whole side of the world on your back, kids looking up to you, people placing their hopes on you, and you having to do something that with your experience that you have so far, with the level that you're at so far, you're not even expected to be close to that level, but you have to pass that level, even though you don't have the experience to give you that confidence. So then you pass that level, by God, you pass that level by, I wouldn't say work. The work even is from God, but you showing up, at least.
Yeah.
Past that level, then that's it.
Yeah.
You're drained. And like I was telling you, sometimes the 2 months that has prepared you to get into that mental state of the fight, sometimes it takes that same amount of a month or even 2 to get back out of that mental state and start living your normal life. I do have friends that I can speak to, family that I can visit, and my biggest pressure in life right now is what am I gonna eat next? Not who am I gonna fight, who am I gonna... So I think that's what breaks me down the most. And I never hold back from speaking about it, because it's part of the journey, it's part of who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not here to be some kind of tough guy. Again, I have nothing to prove. I prove all I need to in the nights I fight.
Yeah. 45 minutes where...
Exactly, in the 45 minutes I fight. I could speak about my vulnerabilities and what I go through now. It doesn't change that I still win my fights.
You don't have that option to just switch off.
Not at all, because if you don't make weight, you don't fight. So it's like, that's why they say in boxing it's 2 fights, the weight and the fight. The weight thing is huge. You lose a lot of weight to fight. So it's like, once you weigh in the day before the fight. Once you weigh in, it's actually a celebration that day. I swear, because you've won that fight.
And how do you get to celebrate?
You've won that fight.
Because you can't do it with going out or eating.
Yeah, but you carb load.
You do?
You carb load. You start. Now the weight is done. You've officially weighed in. Now it's time to rehydrate, carb load again for the fight.
So what is the difference in time between like the weigh-in and then the actual fight?
It's about a day and a half. So you weigh in 8 a.m., 9 a.m. the day before the fight, and you end up fighting 6, 7 p.m. Most usually than not. Yeah, the day after. You have all the sodium back in you, the water back in you. Because fight week, it's very weird. You cut out carbs, you cut out sodium, you do something called water loading. That's a very complex thing, you know? But yeah, you get to that point, and yeah, just like I said, it's a process of breaking you down to the fight. But for me, the fight in the States, other than the heat, other than the opponent being southpaw, other than, you know, my US debut, I know that the judges are American too, and I'm Arab, you know, so it's like I know that there's pressure on me to really win the fight in a convincing way, where none of the judges can try to screw me, you know, because of the whole conflict happening and Saudi and this, that. You never know.
You were mentioning to me before we had started on camera here that this last match was really, really, really difficult, one of the most difficult matches you had. And you were saying like you got into like round 4 or 5, something like that, and you were completely just exhausted, and your opponent was like fully on and got his energy back. How did you come back from that? Like, how do you, because this always really fascinates me, that space inside of our minds that has the ability to make us as entire beings recognize that we are infinitely powerful and everything that we want can actually take place, especially in the moments when we are completely depleted. How did you come back from that?
It's knowing that each one of us in us has a second wind. You have a second wind. And when I say second wind, I don't just mean stamina, or I don't just mean when you're doing something physically. I mean that even mentally, you have a second wind. But the only way to unlock that second wind is to know that and understand that the only way to unlock it is to understand and know that I am tired from the first one. Don't try to, you know, escape you being tired in round 4. And so when I say second wind, I mean that second set of push, that new set of push, that second set of willingness, that second set of motivation, discipline, you know, all of the emotions. You have just a second set of it that will only unlock in high stress moments, that will only unlock in high risk moments. But to unlock it, you need to understand that you are in a high stress moment, you are in a high risk moment, and that you are tired. You are tired, and it's okay to be tired. If I'm in a boxing fight and it's round 4 and I'm starting to breathe so hard in my fights, the 1 minute I have between the round and the other, I need to understand, okay, now I need to nasal breathe. I need to control my emotions. I need to control my breath. And if I'm not able to control it, I don't panic, because it's okay to not be able to control it fully, because I'm in a very tough fight and I'm very tired. But it's to just know that, okay, now it's fight or flight, right? And we all have that in us. It's either fight or flight, but it's not you're born with it and you're either a person who will fight or you're either a person who will flight. It's what are you doing before that fight or flight kicks in that decides which one are you going to go through. So the more you run away from unwanted emotions, the more they'll run after you. So the more you run away from unwanted emotions, the more they'll run after you. But if you stand and you meet them, you win. And if you stand and you meet them, then you get to know them and you get to use them for your second wind. So in round 4, when I go into round 5 and I'm dead tired, and you know, very strangely, my opponent is getting his best second wind ever. He's gotten his energy, he's punching harder, he's punching faster, he's very alert, very sharp, very awake. I'm panicking. Right now I'm panicking because the last 2 rounds are very important and I'm tired. My defense isn't the best, I'm getting punched a lot, all of that. But if I run away from that panic, it will always run after me. Okay. Then that's flight, right? But if I stand and I meet that panic, I'm like, okay, I'm panicking, Actually, I was hyperventilating in between the rounds. I was breathing, my breathing was all over the place. But my coach told me, control your breath. It's okay, you're ready, you've been there. So then I controlled the panic, and I understand that I need to win whatever battle I'm facing, regardless of the panic. I need to win the battle I'm facing with the panic there. If you wait for the panic to leave in a high stress moment where the odds are stacked against you, it's never gonna leave.
Right.
If you wait for the fear, the stress, the pressure to leave in a high stress moment, it's never gonna leave. But if you understand that you need to get through and go through the moment, regardless of those unwanted emotions being there, then you understand that the unwanted emotions are actually needed emotions to get through it. So then you get that second wind, and this is where you get to choose the fight and not the flight, just how you control the emotions.
Yeah.